I ran into Steven Spielberg,
Oh, wow.
and I don't know if he'll ever gonna watch this, but he'll remember me because he told me to turn my music down. And then I was a bit cheeky, and I was like, "Hey, you're that director, aren't you?" And I knew exactly who he was.
Yeah.
And I was like, "I loved your recent movie Jaws," and he just looked at me really weirdly, and he's like, "Just please turn the music down." And I was like, "Yes, sir, you got it." And then I had one of the guys from the Peaky Blinders, who was one of the juries, late night at a karaoke, like 4 a.m. And then he told me, he said, "You're the bloody most handsome man at Cannes, and you're so well dressed." And I have video of this, and super like compliment.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Don't Talk Back podcast. I'm Khushee, and we are joined by Kabir Singh. It's not Shahid Kapoor though, it's the Aussie Kabir Singh.
Jesus.
He's an actor, model, and the owner of one of Sydney's most popular food trucks. Thanks for joining us, Kabir.
Amazing, and I'm so sick of hearing Kabir Singh and getting compared. So just
I was
off the
going to
bat,
ask you, because I mean, you were Kabir Singh before Shahid Kapoor came into the
100%.
picture.
It's ruined my Google SEO or
That's
forever.
what I was going to say, like
Forever.
now you Google yourself and Shahid Kapoor comes up.
It's the worst.
So
But it's
what's
also
the-
good. People are like, "Oh, Kabir Singh," and I'm just like, "Oh, it's
Not that
not
one.
the toxic version. The nice guy."
So what's the biggest change been in terms of that after the movie came out?
Oh, nothing really. It's just people go, "Oh, Kabir Singh, I like that movie," and I'm like, I'm a human being, and I'm an actor. Nothing with the movie, but yes, that's my name. Yeah,
He kind of got
Fair
his
enough.
beard and hairstyle in the movie.
yeah, well, kind of. I
Yeah.
guess this is like Shahid Kapoor's
The look.
the real
Yeah.
toxic phase,
Yeah.
where he like goes all depressed and
Yeah.
that's
Surely-
basically, as an actor, that's who I am anyway. So
Surely if you had a movie made about you, you would get Shahid Kapoor to play you, right? Kabir Singh 2.0.
yeah, I
Maybe.
mean, would it be weird to play yourself in a movie?
No,
In like
I mean,
a biography
Sachin,
of yourself?
No, Sachin Tendulkar did it. He acted himself. Yeah.
But it was
He
a
had his
documentary.
That was a
biopic.
documentary, dude.
Yeah, no, it wasn't.
It was like a documentary. Like, I don't think it was an actual movie. It was like a documentary kind
Oh,
of thing.
no wonder it didn't do well.
Why would he? He's a
No, because
cricketer.
I was gonna say, like, why would you act yourself in a movie? That's kind
That'd
of
be a bit weird,
Yeah, that's
right?
kind of
Yeah.
basic.
Is it basic? I don't think it's ever been done before.
Yeah.
Has it? Can they make biographies on people who are like dead or like really old?
Yeah.
Right?
No, but Dhoni had his one. He's not really old and old.
No, he's not in it.
Yeah, but Sushant
Sushant
Singh
is in
Rajput
it,
played him,
yeah.
yeah.
Okay, makes sense.
I mean, they have like I've seen that you guys know Pele, right?
Yeah.
In his movie about him, he was in the movie for like a second.
As like sort of like a
Because it was just there
another
was just a
character
scene-
or something?
No,
or?
there was just a scene where like they're playing a ball and like playing like football in a hotel, and then you just see like an old man turn around to the camera, and then it's just him smiling, and then it just passes off.
That's great. It's just like a goodbye. Like I exist.
exactly. Yeah, you could do that.
Yeah, I could do
right?
that.
Yeah, just like
It's like a Quentin Tarantino cameo. It's like gets his
Exactly.
head scalped off or something
Exactly,
like that in his
yeah,
movies.
exactly, yeah,
That I'm into, yeah, for sure.
I think what's his name? Kapil Dev did that for 83 as well.
Yes,
He like caught the
yes.
ball in one of the scenes, and he
Yeah.
was like, "Good shot, Kapil." You know, that was a really good film. I'm obsessed with cricket, so
I think that's the only acceptable version of where you act in your own biography, where
Yeah.
you just do like a cameo.
Yeah, I think it
Cameo,
kind of
yeah.
ruins it for me if you just act like yourself.
Yeah, that'd be strange. I'll get Shahid Kapoor to play me.
Okay, well that's settled then.
Yeah.
If Shahid Kapoor is watching this at all, that's the guy you have to play.
So tell us about your background. Were you born here, grown up here, raised here?
No, so I was born in Delhi, India, well, Haryana. Well, it's like New York, New Jersey, just say New York. I was born in Faridabad. And I came here when I was 10. And it's a very distinct memory because I came here 3 days before my birthday. We stayed at our family friend's house for like 20 days before we like settle in
Got
and
your own
stuff.
place, yeah.
I remember getting a pack of peanut butter M&Ms for my birthday, and that was
Pretty cool gift.
that was a pretty cool gift. But I remember it going like, "Are we poor, mum and dad? Like, is that the gift I got?" But you know what? They're like, "We got you to this country, so like that's your
That's
gift."
your gift.
Yeah,
Be
and it
grateful.
truly is. Come
It
on,
is,
like, it
yeah.
truly is.
They've done so much for us, our parents. So
For sure. So I came when I was 10, turned 11 3 days later. I had to repeat primary school here. It's my Indian Tourette's. And I repeated year 6 at Ashfield Public, and then I went off to Doonside Tech for 2 months. Then I got bullied too much there. Then they took me out, put me in Patrician Brothers. For 3 years, I got bullied there. I used to have a turban, a judi. So you know how kids especially back in the day, I don't think they were like very used to Sikhs maybe, or like there was just some kind of
Just disrespect. Yeah.
disrespect or whatever it was.
What year was this? Was it like 90s?
This was year 6, so primary school Ashfield. Finished that. I had gotten into Newtown Performing Arts, which is like a rigorous audition process. And then we moved away to Blacktown, and then we weren't in the district anymore to be
So you just couldn't
accepted.
get in.
Right.
So then I went to Doonside Tech for 2 months. That was a little bit of a, far west school. So my parents were like, no, we're going to put him into Patrician Brothers. Went there for 3 years, got bullied a lot. I played tennis for the school, which was really fun, but there was no drama department. And then eventually got expelled from that school. Because I guess I got bullied and I reacted, and I was just, didn't know how to deal with that. And then I went to Glenwood High, which then I ended up staying till year 12. And then I had a drama place, and I came first in drama there. And
Oh, nice. In HSC?
in HSC, yeah. So like I thought that was the natural progression to like, continue, pursue acting and stuff. So I did an audition for NIDA at the age of 17. Didn't get in. My acting teacher was like, you're never going to get in. It's too hard. And he completely discouraged
What
me
a
at
nice
that time.
teacher.
Yeah, screw him. Here I am. And he's like, never get in. I auditioned. I didn't get in. But I did something completely like crazy. Because I was like, if I want to get noticed, you got to do something crazy. Especially being brown, I just felt like you got to like
Do something unexpected.
And really work harder than the other demographic to be noticed.
Yeah.
So that was always my mentality. And in some ways, it still is. And I did. So you're basically supposed to prepare a classical monologue and a contemporary monologue. So classical Shakespeare. And the crazy part was I picked a female monologue because my mentality was when Shakespeare first, in the 1500s started.
Male actors
so male
play
actors
women.
played females,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And because females weren't allowed to act or whatever
Yeah.
it was. So I was like, that will get their attention. And like 30 seconds into my monologue, I played Desdemona from Othello. And they stopped me and they're like, stop. Why are you doing that? And I'm like, and I wanted to explain, but I was like shaking. I'm like, oh my God, they stopped me in the middle of the monologue.
Oh, no.
And they're like, just do it in your normal voice. And then I
Wait,
did
were you
it.
putting on a girl voice?
Yeah.
Oh,
I was
okay.
just completely like, I was 17. I was
Yeah.
like, want to do something offbeat. And then I did the monologue, did the contemporary, did all that stuff. Didn't get in. But later on, someone came up to me and said, look, you actually gave it a good try. And do try again next year. And like, we appreciate you coming with a really unique approach.
yeah.
So I took that feedback in, never auditioned again. But
But you still left a mark for them. I'm sure they still look back on that
don't
audition
know,
and like,
maybe.
there was that one guy in that year. He auditioned for Desdemona. And we didn't cast him, but it made our day.
who knows? They
Wow.
must have
And
remembered
Desdemona
me.
is a very chaotic character as far as I remember from A Midsummer's Night, isn't she? She gives me pick-me vibes, I think.
Yeah.
Wait, Desdemona's from Othello?
No,
or-
it's from Othello. Sorry.
Scrap
Yeah.
I fully thought it was from A Midnight Summer's Dream, but we're just going to move on. Move on.
Yeah.
So, I mean, speaking of your struggles, moving here age 11 from India would have been really tough. So when is that, 90s, 2000s?
2003.
Yeah, right.
So we actually got a visa for the States, and then 9/11 happened,
Oh.
and then pivoted to Australia, basically.
Yeah,
so
right.
Did you
Good move.
choose to move to here, or did your visa get rejected?
I think the visa got rejected. Basically,
Yeah.
they just stopped all immigrants
Yeah,
from coming
right,
in.
Fair enough.
You
Fair
know,
enough, yeah.
especially people who wear turbans that may look like Taliban or whatever. You know, whatever the correlation was of that.
Yeah.
But visas got rejected, and I think in good conscience, I'm glad it did.
Yeah.
That we're here in Australia because I wouldn't choose any other country. to
Yeah,
live
especially
in.
not America. Not after.
Especially now.
Not after yesterday.
Not
No,
after
thank
yesterday.
you.
What kind of things do you find weird about the Aussie culture back then, if you can remember? Like when
I
you
find weird about
Yeah,
like
the
back
like-
culture.
then, like when you were like 11, coming to Australia, living in India for the first 10, 11 years. What did you find weird when you came here? Other than the bullying, of course, which yeah.
I mean, for me, it was the Vegemite. I tried it once and I puked. And then I found Lamington, so that was pretty solid.
Yeah, no. I mean, I think I found things that I love. I didn't. The thing I found weird was the structure of schooling, where India is like very strict uniforms, ties, all that stuff. Here it was very casual.
Didn't have to stand in line and sing the national anthem every day. Isn't that what happens in India?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Jana Gana Mana is like every morning you got to do it.
Yeah, you got to stand in your roll call.
Yeah, and do that for sure. So I think it was less structure, more chill. I loved having like Zappos. That was my favorite.
I love the purple Zappos, but they always get stuck in your teeth. You have to literally dig it out.
They do. I think one of my favorite parts of growing up was, your mummy would pack you parantha or chawal and chicken or something curry based, and you'd bring that into the school, and it was a bit of a a smell issue for a lot of kids.
That way.
But also a lot of, cause like I didn't get pocket money. Because Indian kids, you never got pocket money. Like if you did, it was like maybe $5 a week, if that. And that was like rich coming, like $5 a week. And I craved outside food. I craved canteen food, just like cup noodles or just, pizza pockets or shit like that. And pivoting, I'll come back to this, but like pizza pockets is how pocket rockets kind of came about.
Oh, yeah.
The whole idea. Anyway, but I used to sell my lunches to like Samoan kids who were like, yeah, give us some chicken and rice. So I used to sell my lunches for like $5 a box.
Wow.
And then get that money and buy shitty processed canteen food. So that was me being an Indian trying to assimilate into a white society in Australia.
The hustle is real.
The hustle was real since I was a kid. Yeah, for sure.
Wow, that's really interesting that you say that, because for me, I like when people said it was when you said it was a smell issue, I'd get people come up to me and it's like, what are you eating? And I'd get so self-conscious. I'd tell my mum to make me sandwiches the next day, like basic ass cucumber and margarine sandwiches instead of the dal and chawal.
No garam masala, no turmeric.
No garam masala, nothing. And I was like, next day I was like, you know what? Let's go back to dal chawal. This is so boring.
I never got that. I can't relate actually. Everyone used to enjoy my food.
With the Indian food?
Yeah, but no, I did have other issues.
What?
I would pack it in like shitty boxes, and then it would leak through my bag.
That was the thing. It would leak. The leak was the smell.
Yeah, it wasn't the smell. It was the fact that oil would just leak through, or like curry would leak through, and then it would look like I shat in my bag. It would look absolutely like horrendous level.
You're lying. You actually shat in your bag, didn't you?
That's the story for another day. No, but it was wild. Like, but then after I realized I invested in some good boxes.
Good Tupperware.
Yeah, so that never happened again.
Can't go wrong with Tupperware.
But yeah, that happened I never learned. Every time it happened once, it's kept happening for years. And then year 11, 12, I actually learned that, okay, you know what?
You learned in year 11 and 12 from like kindy to year 10. You just had...
Oh, no, not it was maybe, it started in like year 8 maybe, and then till just like year 10. I don't know. My dad would be like, no, don't worry, this box is fine. Got a rubber band, all good, don't worry.
Got a rubber band, the desi, jugars, all of that.
Yeah,
But coming on to your uni life, I think I saw that you did law and commerce at Macquarie.
I did for 8 months.
I was gonna ask, because Renesh and I are from Macquarie as well. So I'm doing my masters there, and he did his bachelor. He's doing his bachelor's.
Finished.
You just finished.
Yes.
So he just did his
Thank you.
bachelor's there. So did you want to go into law and commerce just for the sake of it? Because like obviously in Indian culture it's like medicine, doctor, engineer. Medicine, law and engineer.
You basically put it perfectly. I think, it was just, my marks were good. I got in, and it seemed like the natural progression, especially being in the Indian family. It's like university jao, aur uske baad job karo, fir bacche karo. फिर फैमिली बढ़ाओ फिर मर जाओ.
It's like the ये जवानी है दीवानी thing, 25 तक नौकरी 26 तक छोकरी, that kind of stuff.
Basically.
मौत का इंतजार.
Basically, but I knew what my passion was, and I think before university I'd auditioned for NIDA, and I knew this is something I wanted to do. I wanted to pursue. When I did university for 8 months, I did 1.5 semesters. I failed 2 subjects in my first semester because I found a website called Star Now, which is like a lot of young actors, when they're starting off, they go on that. And then I started getting auditions, I started getting films. And the first semester's exams, I went and sat the exam in the middle of the break of the short film that I was shooting. So I was shooting, I said, look, I gotta go to Macquarie, which was like 20 minutes away. I'm gonna go sit my exam.
I'll be back.
And then I'll be back and I'll finish off the film. And that's what I did. I went there and I just wrote stuff down, and I think I just like failed by like 2 marks or something, I don't know. And I failed 2 subjects in the first semester, and I was just like, fuck, this is not for me.
Are you still paying the HECS debt for that?
No, that's all paid off.
Oh, lucky.
yeah.
My HECS debt is probably going to be there till the day I die.
No, I think it was like only like $8,000. So like I ended up.
Yeah, because he did.
How many subjects did you do?
He did 1 semester.
1
8
semester.
months.
So
Oh,
like,
okay. So that's 4 units.
yeah, I can't remember.
Okay. That's still pretty expensive.
Yeah.
Because in my bachelor's, my units cost me like $500. So it was like a full year was $2,000 for me.
Really?
Yeah, well, because of law. Yours was law. Mine was freaking media and comms.
Mine is way more, and I did media and comms.
How much is yours?
Couldn't tell you, but it's more than
Well,
that.
it's a double degree. I think I had 8 electives.
Oh, okay, that'll be it. That'll do it.
But yeah, just after the second semester, I was like, I'm deferring. Like, I can't do this. And I told my parents I want to go study acting, and they were like, not. That was like,
It's like from
to their
law
ears, they
to-
were like, yeah? And I was just like, that's what I want to do. Like, I'm failing. I don't like this. I'm getting jobs. And then my parents eventually saw that for university, I wouldn't even bother getting up for lectures. And like, I just end up going to my tutorials or not even make it to those. And if I had a film, I'd be up at 4 a.m. I'll be up, out of the house, be on set on time. And like, they saw that, oh, this kid's actually dedicated. He actually
Yeah.
cares about this because they saw my sleeping pattern change. And they're
Oh,
like,
okay.
oh, okay. Maybe this is something he wants to do. And then I was like, I want to go to acting school. And we inquired in New York. And someone recommended Lee Strasberg. And then I saw that James Dean went there. And he studied under Lee Strasberg. And James Dean was like a big sort of mythical figure in my head that I was like, that's someone who I want to aspire to be like, I guess. And then Lee Strasberg, and then I was like, then I worked a year and a half. I did 2 jobs, saved up about $22,000,
Wow.
paid my fees, and I went to New York for a year, and I studied
Nice.
method acting in Lee Strasberg.
So how was that whole experience? Like, obviously being an Aussie in New York.
It was quite incredibly scary and freeing at the same time, just being out of home for the first time at the age of 19, where most Indian kids are like, still at home, straight out of uni.
Yeah.
They're following the regular pathway, where I just deferred from the regular pathway. So I always felt a bit different from that sense anyway. But it was amazing. I think I really got appreciated, and I really started to hone my talent.
Yeah.
And at that age, you're still learning, but I started to figure out my techniques a little bit. And I got cast. So there's 3 semesters in the year. I got cast in all 3 of the plays that happened there. And there's like
Wow.
200 kids there.
Oh, yeah.
And, to be cast in all 3 was a major deal. So I was
nice validation.
starting to get seen as like, oh, this is one of the top actors here. And yeah, it was lonely at times. And then I made friends. And at a certain point, I was homeless. I didn't have a place to live. So I lived in a train for 3 days in the metro. And then I used to come to school at like 6 a.m, wait till the door opened at 7, go in, have a nap in one of the rooms with crash mats. And then eventually a friend of mine who was in a play with me called Waiting for Lefty, his name is Michael Billington. And he comes from a really well-off family. So his stepmom is Barbara Broccoli, who is the producer of James Bond, right? So he had, I had no idea. He was very rich. And we were doing a play together. And so at this school, basically, it was all like these, Liam Neeson's niece. Her name is Daisy Bevan. So all these like star kids, I was around, you know what I mean? And I was performing with them and, training with them. And eventually, I was at a bar after the rehearsals for Waiting for Lefty, and Mikey was like, what do you have all your bags for? And I'm like, oh, I don't have a place to live. And he's like, screw this, you're coming to stay with me. And I stayed on his couch for the next 6 months.
In his mansion? Does he have a mansion?
We only saw his mansion 2 days before he left New York, and that was like a 6-story, with his own elevator, butler, Banksy artworks everywhere. And I'm just like, you're that rich? Like, why are we living in a 1-bedroom apartment? Why was I sleeping on the couch? Why were we sleeping here? And he was just like, no, I don't like to take advantage. I mean, obviously he had his own reasons, but the fact
Fair
that,
enough.
those 6 months that I spent on his couch were the best 6 months of my life.
Yeah, I can imagine after going through all of that.
Going through all of that,
Just
like we would
having,
have
like, a nice
like
couch.
amazing, like, we would help each other go through, learn 50 pages of lines. People ask me what New York was like, and I tell them that I went there as a boy and I came back as a man, because I think my struggles there really set me up for the rest of my life, going, nothing you can take for granted. You have roof over your head one day, the next day you don't.
Yeah.
And I was alone in this country. I was too embarrassed to call my parents. And I've still, to this day, never taken any money from my parents. So I think, I'm proud of who I became when I was there, I think.
Yeah, I mean, going through all of those experiences has got to shape you somehow. I mean, not knowing what you're going to do the next minute must have been hard. Like, I can't even imagine that.
Yeah. And
'Cause
being in a city like New York where no one really gives a shit.
Yeah, like everyone's minding their own business, and it's
Yeah.
like even back then it must have been so fast paced.
Yeah. So just having friends like I did, and who took care of me, and then I worked 2 jobs, cash jobs, and I'd work night jobs after school. I was a kitchen hand, and I was a bartender at 18. Let me tell you, I was underage, and the age
Oh
was
yeah,
21.
for their
Oh, sorry, I was
standards.
19, and then I was front of house, just like because I was good looking. The guy was like, "You're gonna be a front of house, and you're gonna invite girls in, and like people in from your acting school." And that's what I did. And I started doing events, and then I just got. That's how I made money to put food on the table of. The house that I was, sharing the couch in, to have just bring something in from me,
Yeah.
and not feeling like I just have, the couch given to me, that I belonged, I guess, in a way, maybe.
Wow.
Yeah, crazy.
So speaking of journeys, on a lighter note, I guess, we saw your mom had a photo with Shah Rukh Khan.
Oh yeah.
So explain the story behind that, because I think we're all really desperate to know how exactly
They looked really good together. Like, I would want to be your mum in that photo.
Oh, dude, yeah, no, she's still, that photo's hanging in dining room at home, so that's a piece of conversation for her every time. But
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Shah Rukh Khan came here for a show, and the video's online somewhere on YouTube, and he just called a couple up on stage, and that couple ended up being my mum and dad,
Wow.
and
so
then did the
lucky.
whole Sajda, Mera Sajda, what that song with mom, and like, and he was doing just funny things on stage, and like, making dad a bit jealous that mom's with Shah Rukh Khan, and of course my dad's not insecure at all, but I think that made him a tiny bit insecure. I think it should any man a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, that's Mr. Steal Your Girl.
It is. That's
Yeah.
the ultimate Mr. Steal Your Girl. You can get any lady out there, even at this age.
Yeah.
But so another thing I want to ask is that did you also go to the Cannes Film Festival?
I did.
So please tell me about that, because from how I see it, it looks like you get to spend your time in 7-star hotels and get served fresh croissants every day. So was it like all of that, or
No, look, it's the glitz and glamour is at one place, but no, we were just in like a really nice Airbnb, and we definitely did have croissants and baguettes every day, and great food and meals, and fancy dinners and all that stuff. But yeah, besides all of that, Cannes was amazing. I think I went to Cannes Film Festival 10 years ago on the dot from last year, and I went there as an associate producer. So I was working for a company who produced movies, and they took me to Cannes. So my job was basically to organize passes, and all these like rich investors. And we stayed in a mansion then next to Steven Spielberg.
Oh, really?
And I ran into
right.
Steven Spielberg,
Oh, wow.
and I don't know if he'll ever going to watch this, but he'll remember me because he told me to turn my music down.
Uh-huh.
And then I was a bit cheeky, and I was like, "Hey, you're that director, aren't you?" And I knew exactly who he was.
yeah,
And I was
yeah.
like, "I loved your recent movie Jaws," and he just looked at me really weirdly, and he's like, "Just please turn the music down." And I was like, "Yes, sir, you got it." So I went there 10 years ago, and I was just an associate producer, basically a runner. And at that time, I had kind of told myself I will be back here one day as an actor.
Yeah, right.
I think 10 years on the dot, I manifested that, and I was there walking the carpet
Wow.
as a lead actor for a series called Appetite. That's on SBS.
Oh yeah.
That did really well around the festival circuit. We came first runner-up at Cannes.
First runner-up.
Just a huge deal.
Yeah.
Huge deal. Yeah, man, went to awesome parties. I had Stuart Copeland of the band The Police come up to me on the red carpet. He's one of the juries, and told me that I am the best dressed guy at Cannes.
Wow.
Because I was wearing this outfit designed by an Australian designer. She designed all my outfits. So I wore like a skirt, like a long skirt and kurta, and it was amazing. And then I had one of the guys from the Peaky Blinders, who was one of the juries, late night at a karaoke, like 4 a.m. And then he told me, he said, "You're the bloody most handsome man at Cannes. And you're so well dressed." And I have a video of this, and it super like complimented me. And I was just, it was amazing. It was amazing. Just being around these amazing actors, amazing people, parties, and just your work being appreciated after 10 years.
After all that, what made you want to start your food truck? Walk me through that, because I have been to your food truck, Pocket Rockets, in Vivid 2 years ago, and I have never had such good food. I'm just going to say that right now. The best butter chicken. I didn't even know butter chicken loaded fries existed until I had them that day.
Amazing.
I just have to tell you that I love butter chicken loaded fries, and I appreciate you for introducing them to me.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I think the food business actually started from a really dark place, unfortunately. I actually was diagnosed with, people don't actually know about this, but I was actually diagnosed with blood cancer 2019, September. And I spent 6 months in the hospital getting transfusions. I thought I was going to die. Basically, the doctor said, if you came a day later, you would have been dead.
It's intense.
All my organs were failing, whatever, all that shit. And I spent 6 months in the hospital, and the idea of doing something besides acting and doing something came from a place of fear, where I was like, I'm gonna die. I've got nothing to show or leave behind for my family, because actors are generally always broke, which I most definitely was. Like living paycheck to paycheck or whatever. And I was like, I need to do something, if I have limited time, what am I good at? And I thought. And then I got out of the hospital, and then food was like circling around my mind. And then COVID happened. So literally I came from, being in like the hematology ward, which is like completely, you're around cancer patients, leukemia patients, all that stuff. So it's like very secluded. You got to wear like masks and bibs and everything. Any kind of infection could like kill them. So I went from that into like COVID. So I basically didn't see the outside world for like 2 years.
Wow. So you got COVID while you were there?
No. And like 2020 when COVID happened, right? So then we were in lockdowns for like basically 2 years.
Yeah.
So I didn't see the basically outside world for a year and a half, really. And in COVID is where the idea kind of got concepted, because I was craving jaffles that mum used to make when I was a kid, like jira aloo jaffles and stuff like that, just like leftover food. And then I told my mate to go out and get a jaffle maker from Marketplace. Got it, and then I cooked something. It was great. My roommates loved it. And I started exploring a bit more, and I found these round jaffles. And these round jaffles reminded me of pizza pockets, coming back to that, when I was a kid. And I'm like, that's nostalgic. And I look for these round jaffles, they don't exist anymore. And the story behind them is that they were actually invented in Australia in the 1940s by an Aussie. So jaffle was minted in Australia by a doctor who also invented the planes that land on water, called the surfo planes.
Interesting.
And I was like, this is what I want to do. I want to bring this back. I think this is where it's at, and kind of started the whole jaffle thing. Then, pizza pockets, pocket rockets, and the whole looks like spaceships. And started from there. And then 2021 is when I got my food truck delivered to me. 2021? Yeah. And end of 2021 is when I did my brother's birthday as my first gig. And then here we are 3 years later, one of the top food trucks in New South Wales.
Yeah. Congratulations.
Doing all the major festivals, Vivid, every year. And yeah, it's great.
Wow.
Love it.
So if you had to choose, which would you go with?
Acting.
Acting or...
Oh, acting.
Acting?
Acting, yeah. The burnout. So the thing is with acting, you love it so much that I never get burnt out, no matter how many hours I do. And you know, people say you've picked the 2 hardest professions in the world. You picked hospitality and at that running your own business and acting. And both are equally as hard and time consuming, physically demanding.
Yeah.
And somehow I balanced both. Like I just came from an audition just then. Yeah, it's hard. It's hard, but I love both. I think hospitality, I burn out really quickly, but it's because it's Indian food and I don't want to serve customers shit.
Yeah.
And I've worked in restaurants and I've worked in cafes and I know what chefs are capable of
Yeah.
and how much they slack off when it comes to food sometimes. And people don't even know what they're getting at times. And I'm going, oh my God, you're going to serve that?
Yeah.
So I kind of wanted to really change that. And the whole idea with introducing butter chicken was I'm so sick of this sweet
Oh my God.
sugary butter chicken that it's the Aussie butter chicken and it all tastes the same.
Yeah.
And there's a reason why it all tastes the same because it's made from bloody powders and there's the supplier that supplies the butter chicken powder or whatever and then they make it from that. And I was like, I need to change this idea of butter chicken is supposed to be this sweet thing that, you know, Aussies love, you know, and I'm from Delhi where butter chicken was born.
Yeah.
I'm like, real butter chicken does not taste like this.
No, it does not.
So I took it upon myself and I'm like, I'm going to make the best bloody butter chicken that these white people, anyone in Australia has ever had. And then they'll come back to me and they'll tell me, oh my God. And since I did that, that's the feedback I've gotten. From Indians as well, going, oh my God, this is the best butter chicken I've had in Australia.
I'm like, one of those people as well. So.
Yeah, it gets cooked for 64 hours. And you know, funnily enough, there's no butter or cream in there. Because the flavors are so intensified, there's actually a vegan butter chicken. Wow. Can you imagine?
Vegan butter chicken.
Yeah, yeah.
With meat.
Yeah, I mean, not as in the gravy itself
is vegan.
It's got no butter and no cream.
Wow.
And people are shocked going, what? I feel guilty for liking this now because it's got no butter and cream.
Because our parents always say that the taste comes from butter and cream. So it's like you can do without it.
Sure it does. But if you intensify the flavors enough, slow cook it, you don't need butter and cream. It's like in India, they put butter and cream in everything to elevate the flavors.
Yeah.
But really, the real good chef and the cook lies in, you know, elevating the flavors without these extra things to elevate it.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, and that just comes from the slow cook, I think.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to wrap up our episode with just one segment. We do this with all of our guests. It's called the Talk Fast segment. So it's sort of going to inspire the rapid fire round.
Okay.
I'm guessing you've seen.
Sure. Yeah. Bits and pieces.
Yeah. So we're gonna ask you questions, and you have to say the first thing that comes to your mind.
Easy.
Are you ready? All right. Would you rather butter chicken loaded fries or butter paneer loaded fries?
Butter chicken.
Rank these actors rank these actors from best to worst. John Abraham, Vikrant Massey, Karthik Aryan, Siddharth Malhotra, and Varun Dhawan.
Vikrant Massey, best to worst, yeah?
Yep.
Vikrant Massey, what were the other ones?
There's John Abraham, Karthik Aryan, Siddharth Malhotra, and Varun Dhawan.
Vikrant Massey, Karthik Aryan, John Abraham. What were the other two?
Sid and Varun. Siddharth Malhotra and Varun Dhawan.
Varun and Sid.
Really? Oh, okay. And then we've got the Hollywood edition of that as well. So Robert De Niro, Leonardo DiCaprio, Tom Hanks, Russell Crowe, and Hugh Jackman.
Robert De Niro. Mm-hmm. Did you say Leo?
Yeah.
Robert De Niro, Leo. What were the other three?
Tom Hanks, Russell Crowe, and Hugh Jackman.
Oof.
It's a hard one.
Tom Hanks, Russell Crowe, Hugh Jackman.
Wow.
I know Hugh Jackman's so good. He was so good in Prisoners.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah.
Oh, well, you know, it's okay. Yeah.
So what's your favorite role been so far?
Ooh. I don't think I've played it yet. But I think Appetite will be my favorite role so far. Yeah.
Most rewarding, would you say, as well?
Most rewarding for sure. Yeah.
What's a recent role that you thought on TV or on the silver screen that you thought you could have done better, Bollywood or Hollywood?
Well, I recently did a show called Plum, in which I played the first So the first time a Sikh man was seen on Australian television, which I think is ridiculous. How has a Sikh guy with a turban not been seen on Australian television?
Yeah.
And that was a thing, an ask that I made, an offer I made to the director, Wayne Blair, that can he be a Sikh doctor? And they loved, and I gave reasons why, and he loved the idea. And I think I could have played him a little better. I think my accent could have been a little bit stronger. But besides that, I think it was, a very, very rewarding and just pushing the diaspora of Sikhs or immigrants forward in Australian television. Because as a young kid, I never saw myself represented on screen, and I think that was one of the major reasons why I wanted to be an actor, why I wanted to sort of lead that. And my friend like Pallavi Shada and Raj and Labde, and all these like young Indian actors who are pushing the diaspora forward, I think I'm one of them that's helping to push this forward, and I think I will continue to do so. And I plan to actually write something, a TV show that has, Asian-based characters for Australian television. I think it's required without the stereotype of it being Asian-based and like being real characters,
not the
and
IT
real
guy.
Australians. Whatever it is. I mean, I'm sure parts of us, stereotype is funny. Some Indian stereotypes are really funny.
Yeah.
And I think Indians are more racist towards Indians itself.
They are. That brings me to my next question, actually. I was going to ask, because I'm from North India and Renesh is from South India, so we always ask our guests, would you rather South Indian food or North Indian food?
South Indian food.
Oh my God.
I love it. I just came from Kerala.
Everyone has been saying South Indian food. North Indian food is losing so bad and I'm so depressed.
Look, I cook North Indian food.
So you're sick of it?
I love it. No, I love it. I mean, I eat it all the time, but South Indian food for me is just a treat. It's a treat. It really is.
What is it, 2-0?
No, it's not. It's 1-0. No, 2-0.
I think I'm biased because I just came from Kerala and I loved it, and I, drove from It does.
Missing out. Well, that wraps up our episode. Thank you so much for coming,
My
Kabir.
pleasure.
Really appreciate it.
My pleasure.
See you next time, guys.